This is an overview of 3.13 Syndicate Operatives Necromancer build with some tanky defenses using Skin of the Lords, our chess piece. So let's look at some stats first. I am currently at 3.9k energy shield, which is really low. Like, how are you surviving? If you look at the armor, I have 51,000 armor. That's how I'm surviving. And I have 90% physical damage reduction, and that's a combination of armor slash the 10% you get from having minions from the Necromancer Ascendancy. I have 288 energy shield regen, and I'm also Chaos Inoculation, so I'm immune to Chaos damage, max block. The Syndicate Operatives damage Shaper DPS on the Path of Building says about 160,000, but remember you need to multiply that by the shotgun effect of the um, projectiles, and then you multiply that by 4 because I have 4 specters, so it's actually quite a bit. This build actually melts bosses pretty well. On top of that, if it doesn't melt the boss right away, you can take quite a few hits. Let's talk about the gem links and gears. Let's start with the 6th link in the chess piece first. It's a Ray Spectre, and it's level 21 because you have to have at least level 25 Ray Spectre in order to get the extra Spectre, and so um, it's good to start with a level 21 gem for that. That's linked to elemental damage with attacks, vicious projectiles, GMP, predator support, and minion damage. And that's on the Skin of the Lord's chess piece, which gives you 100% increased global defenses. That means you get a 100% increase armor, evasion, and energy shield. And I'll tell you why, how I'm using and stacking those things in the build. The thing that sucks about Skin of the Lords is you can only socket corrupted gems in this item, so all the gems have to be corrupted. And so it's not a league starter by any means. This Skin of the Lords always has a different random keystone. And so the keystone on this one is Iron Reflexes. And what Iron Reflexes does, it says, converts all evasion rating into armor. Dexterity provides no bonus to evasion rating. And so what I'm doing with this build is stacking a lot of evasion, and that all gets converted to armor. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the interactions of that soon. And also, one more thing, sockets cannot be modified. So this item comes corrupted, and you can't change the colors on it. So you have to buy the right colors and the right keystone for Skin of the Lords. I bought this for about 2 exalts a couple days ago when I realized, hey, Syndicate Operatives are making a comeback, and let's use and no one was buying Skin of the Lords with green sockets. Um, if people are playing minions, they want blue and red sockets for like Carrion Golem or Primal Crush Claw. But since Syndicate Operatives are back after their funky patch fix, then we can use green sockets again. All right, let's go to the helmet. We have Carrion Golem. That's going to give additional physical damage to our specters. Animate Guardian. And the Animate Guardian is using the Kingmaker Axe, which gives nearby allies Fortify. It gives them Culling Strike. It gives them It gives them 50% crit multi. And so it's a really good axe. It's an expensive axe to get, probably around, I think, what, 50 to 70 chaos right now. The cheaper way to go is to buy the Soul Taker axe, and then buy the knife. I don't remember what it's called, and then vendor it with the orb of fusing to get the Soul Taker. The Kingmaker axe. Ray Zombie, just because I needed more minions. The more minions you have, the higher physical damage reduction you get with the Necromancer, up to 10%, and without zombies, I was at seven minions, and that wasn't enough. I think my physical damage reduction was at 88%. Now I have zombies, now I'm at 90%. The 2% does make a difference. These three minions are linked to Frenzy, Feeding Frenzy support. A lot of people would actually do Meat Shield, so that the minions take less damage, and so that they taunt enemies. But I can take a lot of damage, so I don't care about taunt. Actually, and I have a jewel that gives taunt chance as well. And then the Feeding Frenzy actually gives more damage to the to the specters as well. These are linked to a helmet, a +2 helm with minion life, and just some crappy stats with Dex crafted. Let's talk about the gloves. Stuff on the gloves. I have dash linked to second wind support. The thing that sucks about the gloves is they all have to be green gems, because with these gloves you want all green sockets because you're trying to convert all the specter damage into and minion damage into cold. And so with 4 green sockets, the on the triad grip, they the minions physical damage is all converted to cold, and so you have to fill this with um, green gems. Luckily, I also have enough dex to use dash because I'm also using grace. So I had to make sure that I had enough dex to eventually use grace, and I'm also using a very low precision just to give a little bit more accuracy and crit chance for the minions. So again, the triad grip, based on the color of the sockets, it changes the physical damage of the minions into a different element. And when you compare DPS of 4 greens to, let's say, Grip of the Council gloves, the 4 greens outperform the Grip of the Council gloves. Although with the Grip of the Council, you can use other color gems. So again, with this one, you're kind of pigeonholed into using green gems and green skills here. Now let's talk about the weapon. Um, I've made this build before, and the last time I used this, I used a stabilizing scepter, and then if you look at the implicit, it says elemental equilibrium, and that gives you basically this keystone on the passive tree, elemental equilibrium, which when you hit an enemy with an element, let's say lightning, then they get -50 to cold and fire. And the reason why I decided to use this weapon instead of like a convoking one with +1 to spells or to minion is because I didn't want to spend the passive points to get elemental equilibrium down here, because I'm also using a bunch of clusters that I need my passive points for. So that's why this weapon works really well. These weapons were introduced in Heist, and then what I did was I spanned first of all, I bought the uh, stabilizing scepter with the Redeemer base, and then I spammed deafening essences of fear until I got the hatred aura effect, because I'm using hatred aura, and so this weapon also gives extra hatred aura, and then the minion damage from the um, deafening essence of fear. So it's a pretty good weapon. You could do it without the hatred aura. I spent about 60 chaos on this base, and then spammed about 4 deafening essences until I got the hatred aura. Um, you want to be careful if you are using this weapon or elemental equilibrium, and let's say you're using a spell, because if this were to add, let's say, if it said adds damage to cold spells, or adds cold damage to spells, then elemental equilibrium wouldn't work for this build, or wouldn't work. You'd need to re-roll again or something. Um, it's not too bad. It's got fire damage on there, which kind of sucks because I also have some large clusters which give my minions extra fire damage, extra physical as fire damage, but it's not that much. So overall, still better than not having that hatred aura effect. All right, shield using Aegis Aurora. This is a really powerful shield with the chest piece, the Skin of the Lords. The reason why this is so powerful and with iron reflexes is because the tagline there that says replenishes energy shield by 2% of armor when you block. And I have 51,000 armor, so every time I block, I recover about 1,000 energy shield, and that's why I can take hits. That's why I don't die very often. The thing I die most to are ground and dot effects. Um, and because my energy shield pool is low, but I typically don't die from actual hits. And here in the shield, I have hatred linked to generosity and determination. And you can see that the shield here is corrupted with the discipline implicit, but I can't use that discipline because I also have generosity support in it. So if I cast this discipline from the shield, I won't get the energy shield bonus because it's linked to generosity. So I have discipline here in this ring, just for the extra energy shield, and this ring is really just for stats, and a little bit of resistances. I have another unset ring here with stats and resistances, and I have a summoned stone golem. So I'm using two golems, a carrion golem and a stone golem. The stone golem is the thing that's giving me the uh, decent energy shield regeneration. And I can use the extra stone golem because my talisman here has Golem Commander, and Golem Commander allows you to summon another golem. Um, and so it's the anoint is this notable right here, and it was just far enough that I didn't want to spend those extra points. And I happened to find this talisman in a heist, and I was like, "That's a really good amulet, or a good talisman, good resistances." It has an energy shield percentage on there, and it had like golden commander, and it has an extra socket. So when you're playing minions, sometimes you can get a little socket starved. And on there, I just have a convocation. On the boots, I have Stormbrand linked to Hex Touch support, Frostbite, and Elemental Weakness. So when they get hit by Stormbrand, it's lightning damage, so it knocks down their cold resistance down to minus 50%. It reduces their cold resistance by 50% because of elemental equilibrium. And then on top of that, they get another minus 43 because of frostbite, and another minus 39 because of elemental weakness. I should really quality this one because elemental weakness, the quality just adds to the elemental resistances, um, lowered elemental resistances. So, yeah, there's a lot happening in the bringing down the resistances of the enemies. So they're taking a lot more cold damage from the minions. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also using on my Animate Guardian, I'm using the helmet Eye of Malice, and the tagline on that says, nearby enemies have 50% increased resistances. And you might be thinking, well, why would you do that? Because if they have increased resistances, they won't be taking as much damage. Well, if you knock the resistances below zero and it goes into the negatives, it increases those negative resistances too. So it is effective in that sense as well. Oh yeah, and these boots suck. Um, I spent about 5 or 6 resonators with 3 different fossils trying to get the +1 or specters. Couldn't get it, so I scoured alt, used like 3, 4 alt orbs and hit the specters. Regaled it, got crappy mods, still crappy. Hey, I got an extra specter because of it, so whatever. Um, Flasks, I'm using Jade Flask, Granite Flask, and with increased evasion and armor. And then I'm also using a Stimnite Flask because that increases evasion too. And so with those 3 defensive flasks up, I go from 51,000 armor to 168,000 armor. And remember, we recover 2% of that on block, and we have full block. So you do the math. That's a lot of energy shield on block. I just have a dumb flask here for bleed. And then I have a really crappy Quicksilver flask. I haven't even qualityed these. I only play like in the evenings when I'm not working a full-time job plus more hours of extra stuff that I do. Let's talk about the passive tree. Um, so we pick up a few minion damage things here and there. We pick up a lot of uh, mana reservation reduction, but what we spend most of our points are on the clusters. So we'll start here. I have a careful planning jewel here. I just happen to buy one with corrupted blood, cannot be inflicted on you. That's really helpful for Awakener fight. And this converts surrounding intelligence into dexterity, and because we have a dexterity requirement of 155 dex for to use grace, and just allows us to use dash as well. Um, they have a dumb little dumb little jewel here with taunt. The enemies can taunt. We pick up a lot of these block nodes, spell block nodes. Um, Zealot's Oath, so that the regen from the Stone Golem is applied to Energy Shield instead. Some minion nodes here. We're using a Blue Nightmare because it just gives us max. It gives us a lot more spell block, and this is probably the best place on the tree to put Blue Nightmare. We pick up Glancing Blows, so that we have max block. It says you take 65% of damage from blocked hits, but remember we also recover 1,000 energy shield per block, and so a lot of the times we get hit for almost nothing at all from small hits. And let's look at some of these clusters. I have on these both of these large clusters. I have Feasting Fiends, Primordial Bond, and Raise and Pillage. The reason why I got the Primordial Bonds is because I originally wanted to play Carrion Golems, and so this is typically better for Carrion Golems. And Feasting Fiends isn't great. You, I don't remember what the other one's called. It's something with minions can deal double damage at full life or whatever. That one's better than this, but hey, can't have everything nice. Raise and Pillage is pretty good because if they ignite an enemy, then the enemy takes 20% increased damage. And then Primordial Bond gives extra golem buffs. And yeah, so I have two of these large clusters with minion stuff on it. The medium clusters are really what makes this build shine. So on both, I have two medium clusters that have the passives Uncompromising and Stalwart Commander, and I have two medium clusters that have Sublime Form and Stalwart Commander. So Sublime Form makes Grace reserve 30% less mana. The Uncompromising makes the Determination reserve 30% less mana. And because of that, my Determination only reserves 11% mana. Um, and then I can spend mana on other things like Hatred, Discipline, and a little bit on Precision. The Stalwart Commander gives 20% increased aura effect of Grace, Determination, and Discipline. And these were nerfed this leak. They used to be 30%, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Stalwart Commander notables on here. So that's why I have so much armor and just enough energy shield to get by. Things that increase the energy shield the most in this build are actually energy shield nodes, but I am so passive uh, starved because of the cluster jewels. So this is how much energy shield I have. I hardly die anyway. So yeah, those are the cluster jewels. Um, it's very common for a build with iron reflexes to use those. Um, yeah. Oh, I didn't talk about my belt. So I did this the last league. I made sure that I had enough stats and enough resistances that I could use a double corrupt, a string of servitude with two aura effects. So I have hatred and determination. So I believe the total extra hatred effect I have is on my P.O.E says 2.47. So um, my hatred is multiplied by 2.47, and that's because of generosity and a bunch of other hatred buff or things that buff hatred, and then my other auras like grace, determination, and uh, discipline are have an aura effect of 2.5 because of these stalwart commanders. So it's in a way it's somewhat of an aura stacking, but it's more of a you know heavy armor build. So yep, that's the build. It's easy to play. You run around, you drop a you drop your Stormbrand, and they kill stuff. So I will be giving an update in a few days after playing this build a little bit more. Again, this is my second time playing this, and since they fixed Syndicate Operatives, it's a lot more fun to play. They did nerf Syndicate Operatives because the last league you could support them with Spell Echo, and it was a really insane interaction when they used Spell Echo to do an attack, and they've since got rid of that. Now they just attack, but it's still really fast. I would say maybe something to bring this build to the next level would maybe be to get an All's Uprising amulet that that maybe does like haste has no mana reservation or hatred has no mana reservation, so we could also add haste to the build. But I don't know. Looking at it, I'm already socket starved, so who knows? Well, we'd probably replace precision with haste or something. Yeah. So um, yeah. So fun build, killing stuff really fast, really tanky. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll be giving an update soon. Bye.